What's up guys, and welcome to another tutorial, and today I'm gonna show you how to make a Vigenere Cipher Encryption function in VisualBasic.net using Visual Studio 2015. So first of all, what is Vigenere Cipher? Vigenere Cipher is a method of alphabet encryption, and it's pretty much based on the Caesar cipher algorithm. So make sure to check my video tutorial on Caesar cipher encryption in VisualBasic.net. So briefly, Caesar cipher is based on shifting or rotating the alphabet based on a key. This key is an integer ranging from 0 to 25. So basically, if our key is 1, this means that we're gonna shift every letter to the right one time. So if we having a B, it's gonna be a C. If we having an A, it's gonna be a B, etc. What is special about this Vigenere cipher is that our key is not constant. Our key is actually a word, if this makes any sense. So how this one works, we have here an example. So let's assume that we have a plain text which is hello world, and our key is test. So basically our full key that we're gonna be working with is that for every letter and or alphabet in our plain text, ignoring the numbers, symbols, special characters, etc., we're gonna use the letters of our key to substitute for it. So we're gonna put T for the H, E for the E, S for the L, T for the other L, and then we're gonna just wrap around and put the key again. So T for the O, and then a space, it's gonna go a space as is. Then we're gonna put E, the next letter, which is E for W, etc., till we fully write our corresponding key to our plain text. So here is our corresponding key, or we can call it a full key. It should look like this. So basically how this works, each letter in the plain text, we're gonna apply cipher algorithm to it, to this letter only, using its corresponding letter in the full key as its Caesar cipher encryption key. So for example, this T, if we look at this T, so actually the offset of this T, so T, the ASCII of this character T minus the ASCII of A, is gonna give us the offset of this T. In other words, it's gonna give us the integer value of by which to obtain this T character we have shifted the first letter in the alphabet how many times. So this integer value is gonna be our key value to the plain text to apply a Caesar cipher algorithm on this specific letter. So for the second letter, our key is gonna change. It's gonna be the offset for this E character, and etc. So every letter in the plain text is gonna have its own Caesar cipher key in order to encrypt it. So this is how the encrypted text will look after applying the Vigenere cipher algorithm. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Let's get started with the code. So here I have a form with two text boxes, two buttons, one for encrypt and one for decrypt. And obviously we have our text box 1 for the plain text and text box 2 for the encrypted text. So I'm gonna just go to the code, right click and view code. We'll be creating a function, and this function we're gonna call it Vigenere Cipher, that is gonna be responsible for encrypting and decrypting the Vigenere Cipher text. So right under this sub, we're gonna create our function. So function Vigenere underscore cipher, and this function is gonna take by val text, which is the text that we wanna either encrypt or decrypt. So text as string, and by val key as string, and this is gonna be our key. Oops, this is Y. Okay, and by val encrypt as boolean, and this will decide whether we are encrypting or decrypting. So if encrypt is true, then we are encrypting the text. If encrypt is false, then we are decrypting the text. So I'm creating my result string. So dem result as string equals, and it's an empty string. This is the string that we are gonna eventually return. So return result. Okay. And I'm gonna create a temp string, and actually this temp string is gonna represent our full key that I have just explained to you before, which is the full key is the applying the key to all of the letters of our plain text. And then dem j as integer, it's gonna be a counter that we'll be using later on. So for I as integer, we're gonna create a for loop. For I as integer equal to 0 to text dot length -1. So we're gonna loop on each letter in the text. So if char dot is letter, so if this is actually a letter of key of j, so we are now checking that our key is a letter, not a the current index, j index of our key is a letter. If this is the case, then we're gonna check if text of I is not, if text of I is not equal to space and char dot is letter of text of I. So basically what this line does is that it checks that the current index, the I index of the text of our plain text is not equal to space and it is a letter. So what we're gonna wanna do is check if j equals key dot length. So basically if the counter j reached the end of our key length, so we are going to make it return back to 0 in order to retype the key again, or concatenate the key again with our temp string. Okay, and after this we're gonna type after this if, temp plus equal key of j. So we're gonna append our key of j to our temp or full key array, and then j plus equal 1. This will increment the j by 1. Else, if the text of I is either space or is not a letter, what we're gonna want to do is just append it directly to our temp array. So temp plus equal text of I. After this end if, we're gonna type else. So this else is for this letter, is for the key. So if the key of j is not a letter, then what we're gonna want to do is just ignore it. So j plus equals 1, and we're gonna also check for the j. So if j is greater than or equal to the key dot length, then j equals 0. We also want to decrement the I in this case, as this character is not taken into consideration. So we are going to type I minus equals 1. And this is pretty much it. So these lines of code actually are responsible for creating our temp array, or the full key array that we'll be performing the Caesar cipher algorithm based on it. So let's move on. For I as integer equals 0 to text dot length minus 1. So we're gonna now loop on each letter or each character in our text array, dem n as integer. And what is n? N is actually the offset that, or the key of the Caesar cipher algorithm or encryption that we're gonna perform. Dem new ASCII as integer, and I'm gonna tell you just in a second what is this new ASCII. So we're gonna make a if condition or if statement. If char dot is letter of text of I, so if this current index is a letter, so we're gonna check for our temp array at this index, whether it's a lowercase character or an uppercase character. So if char dot is lower of temp of I, then this temp of I is a lowercase character. Then n, which is the offset, is gonna be equal to the ASCII code of temp of I minus the ASCII code of the small letter a. Else if char dot is upper of temp of I, so if this character is an uppercase character, so n is gonna be equal to the ASCII code of our character minus the ASCII code of the capital letter A. And after this, we're gonna check if we want to encrypt or decrypt. So if encrypt, then our new ASCII, which is gonna be the ASCII code of the encrypted character, is gonna be equal to n, which is the offset, plus the ASCII code of our character, which is in this case text of I. Else, so we want to decrypt, then the new ASCII is gonna be equal to 26 minus n plus the ASCII code of text of I, which is our current character. And after this, we're gonna check if our new ASCII is greater than the ASCII code of the small letter z, and at the same time it's a lowercase character, so charter is lower of text of I. So we're gonna check whether this whole condition is true, or another whole condition is true, which is new ASCII is gonna be greater than the ASCII code of the capital letter Z, but in this case it's a uppercase character, so charter is upper of text of I. So if this is the case, then what you're gonna wanna do is just minus 26 from our new ASCII. So new ASCII minus equal 26. Else, if it's not a letter, if our text of I is not a letter, so we are going to just append it directly to our result. So basically the new ASCII is gonna be equal to the ASCII code of text of I directly without any modifications. And then after this endf, what you're gonna wanna do is append the new ASCII to our result. So result plus equals CHR of new ASCII. And what is CHR? It's a built-in function in the visualbasic.net that returns the character of whatever ASCII code you send to it. And that's it. So we're done now with our function. I'm gonna go to the design view. I'm gonna double click on the encrypt button and type text box2.text equals Vigenere Cipher, and we're gonna send our text, which is in text box 1.text, and our key, which is I forgot to put the text box for the key, so we're putting a text box here, which is text box 3. We'll make this text box for the key. So our key is in text box 3.text, and true, we're gonna encrypt. And I'm gonna copy this code and double click on the decrypt button and paste it, and change this to text box 1, this to text box 2, and this to false. One last thing I forgot to do is that we have to move this condition, or this check for the key length, to be right at the beginning of the loop. And that's it. We're done now. So let's try this out. So I'll be testing with the same example. So the plain text is hello world, and our key is test, encrypt, and here we go. So let's delete this, let's decrypt. Here we go, hello world. So that's it guys for this tutorial, and thanks a lot for watching, and please make sure to check the Caesar Cipher tutorial, as it will be very helpful to you to understand more of the Vigenere Cipher. And thanks a lot for watching. See you soon. Goodbye.